Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Śrī Radha Madhava ki jai, Śrī Gaura ki jai, Śrī Krishna Balaram ki jai, Lalita Vishaka Devi ki jai, Śrī Radha Shyama Sundarita Vishaka Devi ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, Chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme, text number 27. Correct. Okay. Naite sṛtī pārtha jānan yogī muhyati kaścana tasmāt sarveṣu kāleṣu yoga-yukto bhavārjuna naite Śrī pārtha jānan, yogī muhyati kaścana, tasmāt sarveṣu kāleṣu, yoga-yukto bhavārjuna, naite sṛtī pārtha jānan, yogī muhyati kaścana, tasmāt sarveṣu kāleṣu, yoga-yukto bhavārjuna. Naite pārtha jānan, yogī muhyati kaścana. Mataji? Na, never. Naite, these two. Sṛtī, different paths. Pārtha, O son of Pṛthā. Jānan, even if he knows. Yogī, the devotee of the Lord. Muhyati is bewildered. Kaścana, any. Tasmāt, therefore. Sarveṣu, kāleṣu, always. Yoga-yukta, engaged in Krishna consciousness. Bhava, just become. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrī Rūpa Prabhupada ki jai. Although devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. Purport. Krishna is here advising Arjuna that he should not be disturbed by the different paths the soul can take when leaving the material world. A devotee of the Supreme Lord should not worry whether he will depart by arrangement or by accident. The devotee should be firmly established in Krishna consciousness and chant Hare Kṛṣṇa. He should know that certain over either these two paths, he should know that concern over either of these two paths is troublesome. The best way to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness is to be always dovetailed in his service. This will make one's path to the spiritual kingdom safe, certain, and direct. The word yoga-yukta is especially significant in this verse. One who is firm in yoga is constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness in all his activities. Śrī Rūpa Gosvāmī advises, anāsaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjata. One should be unattached in material affairs and do everything in Krishna consciousness. By this system, which is called yukta-vairāgya, one attains perfection. Therefore, the devotee is not disturbed by these descriptions, because he knows that his passage to the supreme abode is guaranteed by devotional service. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitang Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Didati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Jai. Bhagavad Gita as it is, Ki Jai. So this past few verses we're hearing about leaving this world in darkness and in light. Everyone who's born, they grow, they produce some byproducts, they dwindle, and they die. That's material nature. Whether a tree produces a fruit, the fruit ripens, it's ready for its utilization, and then starts withering, drying, and ultimately finished. So although we have this human form of life, it's a rare gift, and here Krishna is reassuring us that devotees shouldn't be concerned, although we follow the rules and regulations, and we want to know what is auspicious, what is not auspicious, and if, just like Bhishma Dev, he's lying on a bed of arrows, he had a benediction due to his surrender and spiritual strength that he could leave upon his wish. Because the body is a machine, and when the machine is no longer inhabitable, the living entity, due to his desires and karma, is forced into another machine, according to your ability to pay. Like you might have an apartment, that you're staying in some apartment. Might be like mid-range apartment due to your budget. So if due to your hard work and good fortune you accumulate more funds, you can be elevated to a penthouse suite, something more elaborate or more comfortable. So Krishna, with his internal potency, manifests the spiritual world. Hard to understand who is God, what is God, and how he not only expands from Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual kingdom, Vaikuntha Lokas, by his external energy, he manifests this whole material world. Just like in the government, they have a prison house. Why do they make a prison house? Because there's criminals, people who don't abide by the rules and regulations or are of danger to the public. And anyone who is breaking the law is considered criminal, so he goes to the prison house. So in one sense, the prison house is built because of the prisoners. So we want to enjoy. Krishna is a supreme enjoyer, isn't it? Everything is meant for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. But it's structured in such a way that, just like Srimati Radharani and the gopis and the gopas, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd boys, and then also there are various degrees of, there's awe and veneration, then there's more intimacy by friendship, then parental love, then conjugal love. So everyone's looking for that relationship in this material world. And people are thinking they'll become happy if only they could make good money, have a beautiful wife, all the things that Lord Chaitanya is rejecting, na dhanang, na janang, na sundaring, kavitang va jagadisha kamaye. I don't want followers. People are very eager, even in devotional service, so-and-so gave so much, and make a plaque for so-and-so because they donated for this and for that, which is nice. It's pious, it's auspicious. People like to be recognized. People like to be appreciated. So where does that come from? Krishna. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and we're all instrumental in his enjoyment. Like we're hearing how the gopis, they abandon all their responsibilities, family responsibilities, social customs, because they wanted to give pleasure to Krishna. But it appears as though some mundane relationship. So everyone in this material world, by looking for that relationship, is attracted to the various books that describe the love affairs between the man and woman. All the movies are about that. All the advertisement. When you're driving on the road, whatever product is being sold, they always have some beautiful woman or some very masculine, heroic-looking type man that if you buy this product, that's what you're going to get. You'll be happy, Prabhupada made the joke about the advertising for cool. You're smoking fire and it's cool. You know how ridiculous. So everything in this world is an illusion. It's illusion in the sense that it's temporary. Now, we could just accept Maya's dictation that, why are you so caught up in all this philosophy and changing your life and rules and regulations, restrictions, and just really you should enjoy your life. And this is the idea. Scientists are looking for ways, that magic youth formula to extend the life, or they'll find something to give eternal life. This is all just word jugglery and speculation of atheistic persons who don't want to submit to the supreme authority of the Lord. If you look at the complexity of this material universe, if you look at just this one little tiny planet floating in outer space amongst millions of other planets, and how everything is organized and structured, you obviously understand beyond nature there's some intelligence. How is it from a little seed grows a huge tree with unlimited fruits, and in those fruits are more seeds that can grow unlimited fruits? It's like it's mind-boggling. You can't understand the greatness of nature, the greatness of God. So either we can accept our own mental ideas or imagination, God is like this or God is like that, or we can hear it from authoritative sources. This is why in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, after Arjuna gave all his arguments, Krishna said, you're lamenting for the bodily platform. No wise man speaks like this. Dehi nosmin yata dehe komarang yovanang jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatra muhyati. Those who are dhira, those who are actually fixed or broad-minded, they see the body is changing from boyhood to youth to old age, and then there's death. So what are we doing preparing ourselves for the time of death? People have accepted, it's just natural, everyone dies. So, you get old and you die, that's it. Everything that you've learned is finished. All that you've accumulated in the form of reputation, friends, money, family members, followers. You might have many, many followers on Facebook, right? You might have 5,000, 10,000 followers, but it doesn't matter, because ultimately you're forced out of this apartment. This body's an apartment. We're dwelling within our body. We're utilizing the hands, but if Krishna paralyzes your hand, you have no control. You see people, there's nothing they can do. There's paralysis. Or, at any moment, a stroke, heart attack, Russia could attack, China could attack, bomb. The scientists with all their research and all their money and technology, all they've come up with are better ways of killing people. People are already dying, but we'll make it faster, make it less painful, just wipe them all out. So this is Kali Yuga. The government is blind. There's no real clarity on religious principles. People are very irritated very easily, slow in spiritual advancement. They're not inclined towards austerities, truthfulness, cleanliness, what to speak of practicing religious. People don't like organizations, and there's always, when you think about all the corruption in the Catholic Church, in the Christian Church, in the ISKCON society, there's always persons of ulterior motives who join religious organizations, and due to their poor behavior and not really accepting the process wholeheartedly, everyone thinks then it becomes, the whole thing is corrupt and useless. So, like they say, throwing out the baby with the bathwater. But we don't want to do that, because real ISKCON is where Prabhupada's books are being recited and the holy name is being chanted. If you go through all the density of the gossip and mental speculations and always worried about the politics and all the world diseases and all the uncultured people who are abusing other people or children and animals. There's so much cruelty, so people are naturally inclined towards humanitarian work, altruistic work. Let us open hospitals. Let us have an organization to protect the widows, to protect the ladies, protect the children. Make sure we have a proper understanding so that there's no abuse of children and so many things. But these sufferings are ever existing in the material world, from the highest planet down to the lowest planet, from Brahma Loka down to Patala Loka, or the hellish planets. There's suffering of repeated birth and death. And it's fearful, because being in the womb is not a comfortable situation. We may think, the baby doesn't feel anything, he's not conscious. That's just our speculation, because obviously it's moving. And imagine you're just packed up in a tight little bag for 9 months, and there's maybe so much feeling and sensation. It's said that one who's advanced, when they find themselves in that difficult situation of being in the womb again, that they pray to the Lord that, my Lord, I've forgotten you, but I will serve you. Just, whenever we're in a dangerous position, we become very, very eager to pray to God that please get me out of this very difficult situation. I for sure this time I'm going to dedicate myself to you, serve you. So this repetition of birth and death needs to be avoided. And the way to get out of this suffering is being offered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this age of Kali Yuga by the perfection of yoga, the perfection of sacrifices and austerities. I'm going to just read the translation of the next verse, which is really descriptive. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas. So people are studying the Vedas because Veda means knowledge. And these Vedic literatures, they help one to maneuver in life, whether it's karma kanda, by working in a religious way under the guidance of the Vedas. You can be gradually elevated. You can go to the heavenly planets. You can get strength, beauty, riches. So much is there. But it's described that the Vedic ultimate teaching is to surrender to the Supreme Lord and go back to the spiritual kingdom. So it says one is not bereft of the result from studying the Vedas, from performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. So you think, well, why would you want to get mixed up with Vedic sacrifices or austerities and performing so many types of yagyas and studying so many books and scriptures if ultimately by the one stroke of surrendering everything to Krishna, what is that famous verse? Yat karoshi yad shnasi yad jahoshi dadasi yat tapasyasti kaunteya tad kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever work you perform, whatever austerities you perform, whatever sacrifices you perform, do it for me. So Krishna is showing us that by hearing about his activities, especially the beautiful activities that we're hearing about in Vrindavan, that the holy land of Vrindavan is non-different than Krishna. So by being in Vrindavan, just our very being physically here, there's purification going on. And what is that purification? The purification means that our soul, our spirit's been covered by material designations, by desires which are unfulfilled. We have many desires. Like the body is just a dead machine, really. Without the spirit soul, it only would lie on the floor. You say, oh, my friend is dead and gone. He's lying there on the floor. What do you mean he's dead and gone? No, he's not there. Or my father is gone. Because when the spirit soul leaves the body is just made of earth, water, fire, dust. Thou art that. Go back to the dust, or back to the material elements. So all these material bodies that are given to us, we didn't choose our mother and father. We don't know. We somehow or other appeared in this world, and we have consciousness. We know we have a mind. We have desires, lust, anger, greed, envy, jealousy. A lot of mixed emotions make up our subtle and gross body. And the body is our vehicle, our instrument to help satisfy those desires. But unfortunately, material sense gratification, there's no satisfaction. I think the Rolling Stones said, can't get no satisfaction. And it's true, no matter how we try to manipulate the material energy in such a way to become happy, it never happens. Although there's some temporary reflection of the spiritual world, obviously we have the people want to hear about, why are movie stars popular? Either they're very beautiful, very famous, they're talented. So Krishna, he's the most beautiful. He's the most powerful. People watch Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, anybody with extraordinary powers, they're, look, that's so cool. He can fly in the sky and faster than a locomotive and more powerful, But Krishna's the most powerful, the most beautiful. And it all begins with faith. It's not that we're told that Krishna's God and leave it at that. No. Lord Brahma Samhita is there. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karna Karnam. The cause of all causes. Krishna says, he's the creator of the whole material world. He's by his power, Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. Everything's working spontaneously. Like you may have a big businessman, he might have a huge factory or many factories. Everything's going on by his agency, by his power. He may not physically be present in each and every place, but he has control of it. You see? So Krishna, he has control. He's in every atom. But at the same time, he's not troubled with administrative headaches or having to, be in the office and perform his duties to make sure the sun is rising on time and the winds are blowing and the rain is coming and the seasonal changes and all the necessities of human existence are made available. He has many agents in the form of demigods who are all servants of the Lord. And sometimes we think that, oh, if I can make this big secretary happy, then, he'll put a good word in for me. Then we get lost thinking that, well, let me worship the Chandra, Indra, Brahma, Shiva, Durga, because these are very powerful personalities who are in charge of the cosmos, this material world. Yes, but the ultimate controller, Mayadhyakshena Prakriti, Suyate Sacharacharam. Everything's working under Krishna's arrangement. So Srila Prabhupada brought that ancient science of Krishna consciousness, what Lord Kapila Dev taught to his mother, Devahuti, what Krishna taught to Arjuna, what Krishna taught to Lord Brahma in the heart, the original Vedic literature. This Veda is an emanation from the Supreme Lord. He plays his flute, and the Vedic literature emanates from his flute, and it enters into the heart of Brahma, and Lord Brahma becomes empowered, enlightened, and he disseminates the same knowledge to Narada Muni to Vyasadeva. And there's various incarnations of the Lord for various purposes to attract us back to the spiritual kingdom. Paritranaya sadhunang vinashaya chadushkritam. Again and again, millennium after millennium, I appear in this world to reestablish religious principles and to annihilate the demoniac. And what is a demon? Anyone who's against the Lord, the supremacy of the Lord, the existence of the Lord. And devotee is one who recognizes and accepts that, yes, my Lord is the creator of everything, and he's a friend of everyone. Bhoktarang jagatapasang sarvaloka maheshwarang suhridang sarbutanam gyatvamang shanti mrishyati. One wants peace. Everyone's looking shanti, peace. Real peace is Bhoktarang jagatapasang. That Krishna, he's the proprietor of all the worlds. Bhoktarang jagatapasang sarvaloka maheshwarang. And he's the friend of everyone. And everything's meant for his enjoyment. But by participating in his enjoyment, we're given extreme enjoyment. We heard the other day, Kadambakana Maharaj giving class, that when Krishna saw the gopis smiling, he became happy. And when the gopis saw that Krishna became happy by seeing them smiling, they smiled even more and became even happier. And then Krishna saw that they became happier, and he became even more happy. And so the competition went back and forth. And this intense love that Srimati Radharani is exhibiting towards Krishna had Krishna, we should say, curious, but he manifested himself in the mood of Srimati Radharani, the very same Krishna. Krishna, yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, was speaking with Ramananda Roy, and they were discussing, what is the greatest suffering? Oh, not to have the association of devotees. What is the perfection of life? To awaken one's love for Radha and Krishna, to have an attraction, to hear about Krishna, to, chant Krishna's names, to hear about the stories of the devotees surrendered to Krishna, to sing his names and with other devotees. He gives, and one who loses taste for so-called, nightclubs, looking for women, looking for men, intoxication, and just thinking that, let me somehow use this body for this very meager happiness, like a insignificant, which is flickering, and it doesn't sustain. But we're eternal. And so how to get free of the disease of the bodily concept of life? By associating with devotees. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy were discussing, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked by Ramananda Roy that I'm seeing you in a blackish color, and then I see you in golden color. What is happening here? He was trying to understand Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya, that Krishna and Radharani coming together become Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself in the mood of Srimati Radharani. And in order to taste that love, that understanding, he manifested himself just 500 years ago. And he was eager to come to Vrindavan, eager to reestablish Radhakund, Shyamakund, the glory of Govardhan, the Vrindavan mood of devotion and love, the Brijabasi's spontaneous Raganuga Bhakti, out of great intensity and love they experience. And this is something beyond imagination for mundane people who think that there's happiness in, scientific research or going to the moon or, go to Mars or start a war or something. What happiness is there here? All we're doing is having pandemics, storms, earthquakes, hurricanes. I'm from Buffalo, New York, and they got hammered with so much snow. People just froze in their cars. They got stuck. So Mother Nature can very easily slap the demonic personalities and give them a good eye opener. We have to wake up that this activities against the law of God are creating more and more karma. There's no way of getting free of the cycle of birth and death other than devotional service. But this devotional service is difficult because people are attached to family, people are attached to the body. They want to identify themselves, oh, I'm American, I'm Russian, I'm Chinese, I'm Indian, I'm Christian, I have my religion, why do I need another religion? It's not another religion. This is the science of how to love God. And the Vedic literature is being handed down very carefully. If you take a ripened fruit from the top of the tree and hand it down from person to person, then the fruit stays intact, nice and juicy. But if it falls down all of a sudden, just smashes, we may not get the full benefit. So this Guru Parampara, Evang Parampara Praptam Imang Rajarshayo Vidu. This knowledge, this Vedic topmost understanding was given to the Rajarshis, the kings, the leaders of society. The king was very godly, like King Pṛthā Rudra, Parikshit Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj. They're meant to guide society in this Varnashram system. Although it's difficult nowadays with all this modern technology and skyscraper buildings, 100, 102 floors, 108 floors, then let's bomb these buildings. We don't know who bombed them, but anyway, they come crashing down. So the modern civilization is in a mess, and it's always in a mess. I don't care if you go into history, it's always a struggle, a big struggle. And that atmosphere, spring weather and nice waterfalls, a beautiful lake and beautiful people, everyone's enjoying, this is the life. Let's work hard, and we can, you go to school for how many years to get your master's degree or this or that, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and then you work really hard to get the money and help your family through all the troubles. The children are sick, you got to go to the hospital, and there's problems between the husband and wife, but still, you work really hard, and by the time you turn 65 or 70 and everything starts falling apart, they say, okay, now you can go retire and enjoy your life. What kind of enjoyment you can have? You can hardly walk. People just stuck at home watching television and or brainless, mindless activities. Armchair philosophy, let's talk about football, or let's talk about cricket, let's talk about politics. Oh, this politician did that. So there's always an attack on the capital city because the old president was better than the new president. Listen, we have Srila Prabhupada, and he's a pure devotee of the Lord by his life, his example, and the fruit of his literature. by reading Bhagavad Gita, by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, in the association of devotees, everything starts getting clearer, just like we've had a few foggy days. When it's foggy, you cannot see very far. Sometimes you have to go very, very slow and very cautious. So right now, we're covered. And we're covered by so many bodily and external identifications. But as we chant the Krishna's holy name, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's a special medicine. Krishna's name, it works miracles. And the more we hear it, it seemed to us, oh, but I've been doing for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, chanting. But also, look at how we're dealing with our desires. And just the very idea of being engaged in devotional service, and that engagement means that whatever we do, we're doing for Krishna. I came in, I was a musician, thought, somewhat of a musician, played in a rock and roll band. But when I first came to New Naimisharanya in Miami, we were digging a new septic system, taking wheelbarrows full of stool, and putting, gardens and pipes, and just working hard for Krishna. Then said, okay, go on Sankirtan. Preaching is the highest activity, because by giving others knowledge of the truth that we're not the body, we're spirit, soul, we're servants of the Lord, we need a spiritual master, we need guidance. So I went on book distribution. And then that morning program is, if you don't charge your telephone, what happens? No more have any use of it. Everyone gets nervous. Oh no, I got to charge my phone. So our charging process begins early, or the night before. You take rest early so you can get up, whether 3:30, 4 o'clock. I mean, generally we get up 3:30, and so we can come see the Srila Prabhupada in Samadhi and just sing together Sangsara Dava Nalalita Loka, these prayers by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, explaining how the spiritual master is putting out the fire of material suffering, of repeated birth and death, and how he's engaged us in serving the deities and singing and dancing and chanting and cleaning the temple and performing all types of services for the pleasure of the Lord, which is our opening our door to the spiritual kingdom. Not just going to the heavenly planets, we're going beyond. Because people who die not in full Krishna consciousness, even if they're elevated to higher planets, when the time is finished, from the highest planet down to the lowest planet, all are places of repeated birth and death. So they have to come back again. But one who attains the abode of Krishna, his transcendental abode, he never comes back. Does not come back to this material world. He stays in the spiritual world, in his original identity, in his original love. And we may think, well, what is that identity? It's a loving, reciprocal relationship. Krishna has that unlimited potency that he could not only dance with one gopi, he can dance with 1 trillion gopis. And each one thinks it's only with him. It's only him and her. He's in Dwarka, he's in 16,000 palaces, acting differently in each and every one of them. But Narada, when he was bewildered, how is Krishna doing like this? He's amazing. So Krishna is amazing, and we're all little part of Krishna, and we all have the same qualities. We have beauty, we have knowledge, intelligence, we have strength, renunciation. All these things are there. Krishna's qualities are manifest in us as well. But by this Chaito Darpana Marjanam, by this cleansing process of chanting Krishna's names, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, by keeping association with devotees, because we're always reminding each other, that if I don't see someone in the morning program, I tell them, good morning. It's like later on in the day, what happened? Then you start feeling, although that feeling of guilt that maybe I should come to the morning program, and even though I might not be spontaneously chanting or dancing, or I'm hearing and reading the philosophy, but I'm not like spontaneously attracted to it. But that gets changed, just like they say jaundice. One who has jaundice, that the cure is sugar candy. By taking some kind of sugar candy, it tastes really bitter to the diseased person. So we're in a diseased condition of life. So to hear about Krishna and to follow rules and regulations and to get up early in the morning and chant and do selfless service, menial service for the guru, you think, everyone's pride comes first. I can't surrender like that. Imagine they say if the guru in the ashram does not call you for your meal, you fast. You think, no, I'm not going to fast. That's too much surrender. But it's the principle, the idea that if we surrender to the spiritual master, but the genuine spiritual master is a representative of Krishna, and they're not going to do some, concocted ideas just to give you trouble. So the spiritual master, he is simply repeating the words of Krishna that makes him a bona fide spiritual master. Sadhu Shastra Guru. We have checkpoints by which we can see that we're getting healthy spiritually because we're following a system that's proven to awaken the eternal existence and the followers of that system. We might not be very expert. We didn't go to school for big college degrees, PhDs, or we're just like ordinary people feeling like, how am I going to make any tangible advancement when even great souls sometimes have difficulties? Yeah, difficulties are there all along the path, but neha bikramo nashasti pratyavaya navidyate swapamapyasya dharmasya trayate bhato bhayat. There's no loss, there's no diminution by following this process of bhakti yoga. Because whatever little bit we can perform for the pleasure of Krishna, that stays in our eternal spiritual bank account. But we shouldn't be satisfied with that. We should be eager and enthusiastic to take up this process of Krishna consciousness wholeheartedly and have faith that Krishna is going to give us direction from within the heart. Krishna is directing all of us, giving us knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness. And when Krishna sees, because like two birds on a tree, Krishna is watching and seeing, and we're just busy, going here, going there, trying this, trying that. Everybody's so busy trying to survive within this, according to his circumstances. And if Krishna sees that this person really wants to understand what is the purpose of life, who is God, and how to achieve that, that's why Prabhupada came. For all of us who are fortunate enough to be around to hear about Krishna through this Bhagavad Gita as it is, to be able to see the deities in the temple, to water Tulsi Devi, to sing the Guru Puja and sing the Kirtan, glorifying the great Acharyas. Today we were glorifying Gopal Bhatta Gosvāmī and Ramachandra Khan. Vaishnavas, by remembering the devotees and by glorifying them, Krishna is very happy. So Krishna consciousness is based on logic, sound philosophy, authentic, tradition of Guru Parampara. So we should feel confident. We have so much. If we have the energy and the enthusiasm, you can chant 16, 24, 32, 64, 108 rounds. So much chanting is there. Very nice. But it's like this. Preaching is the essence, meaning that we found this jewel of Krishna consciousness in the form of Bhagavad Gita that can awaken our eternal spiritual existence. We want to give it to others. Books are the basis. Prabhupada was pushing, distribute books. If you have money, you print books and distribute them so that everyone can have this transcendental knowledge. Purity is the force, and that purity comes by following the rules and regulations, surrender to Guru and Krishna. Utility is the principle, so we have to use our intelligence how to do that. You know, we shouldn't think that, oh, back when Prabhupada was around, he never used computers. We shouldn't use computers. It's not like that. Obviously, you know, we want to follow the tradition of how Prabhupada would do this or do that, but also it says use your intelligence, ask your authority. You know, so we have, like, maybe back then there was no air conditioning. Okay, we do without air conditioning. But if it makes it more convenient that many people will come and listen to Bhagavat and do kirtan, then nothing wrong. And sometimes Prabhupada, a reporter would criticize, oh, you put down modern technology and you know, industry, but I see you using microphone and you're flying. And yes, we utilize everything in Krishna's service. You know, we use the car, the scooter, the telephone, the computer, the microphone, making a video, broadcast the message of Krishna all over the world. This is what we do. That we take everything and we use it for the Krishna's service. But how to do that, you have to have guidance. So we follow this International Society for Krishna Consciousness as an opportunity to live in the association of devotees, to be engaged in devotional service. This way, it doesn't matter how we leave this body, because Krishna will take care. But if we neglect, and then at the time of death, it's very fearful. It's actually a very difficult time, although we kind of put it in the background, put the old people in the old folks' home, you know, and we know everyone will die, yes. But we've seen, I had many occasions when you go and a friend or devotee is leaving and, you know, we're chanting and we're seeing, we're also going to experience that. So we should take our, whatever enthusiasm we have, try to mold our life in such a way so that our activities are geared on hearing, chanting, and the association of devotees. Living in Vrindavan especially is very, very powerful. So this is some of the points about Krishna consciousness, and we should really just pray that whatever difficulty we're having, strong morning program will charge our phone, will charge us so that we have the strength to overcome the mind and all the distractions that come along with this physical existence. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So any questions, comments? We have a few minutes.
Thank you, Panca Gauda Prabhu, for a nice class. Yeah, people are challenged by, that I come across in my preaching, they're challenged by the systems everywhere. And as you mentioned, even in the church and temples, they find a corrupt system which is very difficult to overcome. Yes. So, you know, the exploitative systems, as Prabhupada put it, Ugra karma is going on everywhere. And that's become a huge problem, even in preaching, because they're always pointing out, what about this? Oh, I came to the temple and I found this, I found that. So, you know, how do you deal with it?
That comes with the association too. People have a need. Oh, Prabhu, I want to discuss with you. I want to discuss with you about. Did you hear what happened with And then just destroyed. So there's so many horrible things that go on in this world. Whether it's you know, our society leaders, according to one's evaluation, are not living up to the expectations or their responsibilities, or maybe, you know, not maybe, but most definitely there's going to be some shortcomings on even people who are in a renounced order of life. They may also do many things. So, but association means that you should regulate yourself. Not you put the blinders on, but we don't have time for all this, you know, talk of politics, talk of people's physical distractions that cause trouble. Obviously, if that's your responsibility, you know, you're a mediator, a GBC, and you have a certain sense of responsibility, you have to discuss these subject matters. But in general, for the devotees, by keeping good association means that have a schedule, a very tight schedule where, you know, you're attending the morning program, you're reading, you're hearing with an open mind, open heart, you know, and you're following the rules and regulations, and you'll see that all the storms that are going on around you, they don't affect you so much. But if you're interested to sit and talk about it and hear people's views in 100 different angles, then it's going to disturb your consciousness, and it's going to, you know, knock you off track from your, you know, resolute determination. They say, vyavasayatmika buddhi rekeha kurunandana bahushaka hinantascha buddhayo vyavasayanam. Those who are resolute in their purpose, that means I'm fixed. I want to go back to Krishna. I just want to be in the association of devotees, hearing and chanting the names of Krishna. But those who are many-branched and, you know, they think, don't be so fanatical, let's do this, let's do that, or discuss this and that. So I say good association is most important, so stay away from people who are too much caught up with the bodily concept of life.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for attending. This is a Bhagavad Gita as it is. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Śrīla Prabhupada ki